Good morning, students. Today's session is again a continuation of Introduction to Classes and Objects, where in this session you will be learning regarding the this pointer, data abstraction and explicit address manipulation, as well as how to call one function from the another. So the first topic is regarding the this pointer. Now you might have seen regarding the pointer concept in the C. In C we are going to use the pointer concept is nothing but to fetch to find the variable address. Here in this pointer we are going to generally retrieve the object address. Okay, this pointer is mainly used to retrieve the object address. Just remember this concept, to retrieve the object address. In addition to that, it also gives a facility to create. That means what, whatever the code you write, for example, you had written the last programs like struct, class distance. Within that you have defined the data members as well as certain function declarations you have done. Okay, now whatever the code you write over there, it facilitates to create and call member function. That means what, either function declarations as well as function calls, function declaration, function calls and functional definitions. Function call usually is done in the main, and function definition. Okay, all these three things, whatever the function declaration, function call and functional definition, for this, right, the compiler does all these things by nothing but this pointer. So the facility to create and call member function of class objects is provided by the C++ compiler. In turn, C++ compiler does this how? By using this pointer. Now for this, all examples is there in the next. I'll show you the examples. So how these actually works with this pointer. Other than that, this pointer is always a constant pointer. Okay, it's always a constant pointer, and this pointer always points at the object. For example, if you're seeing in void main, I'd written like distance d1. Okay, distance d1 within the main I had written the distance d1, and after that I written, for example, I call like d1 set feet 1 or something like this I've called. Okay, now what is this? Actually it is a function call. Okay, now here this pointer always points at the object. That means it always points at this particular object with respect to which function was called. Now in the main you have written over here, you have written like this, but when it gets compiled, right, what is actually happening is nothing but it sends setFeet. It goes to the setFeet function, where it will send the address of this particular object as well as the parameter what you have passed. The actual process is this. That is what is the meaning over here, that this pointer is always a constant pointer, that this pointer always points at the object. It always points at the object. So what is happening, the address of this is passed to which the function was called, So this is just an example of this particular statement. In addition to this, it is also used to distinguish between local variables and the data members of your class. When both are declared with the same name. When both are declared with same name. For example, in data member of your class you have declared a num, and the local variables also you have declared a num. Okay, how will you differentiate between this num and your data member num? So at this moment you are going to differentiate by using this pointer, where this pointer always points to your data member, not the local variable. So this is one more point where you have to consider, that is to differentiate between the data members as well as the local variables when both are declared with the same name. To identify the data member, we are using this pointer. Remember, to identify a data member, we are going to use this pointer. So let us see a basic example over here. So this is an example for the third point. Okay, this is an example how you are going to distinguish between the local variables and data members of the class when both are having same variable name, that is num itself. So let me go to this particular class. This is a class. I have declared it as default, you know, it is a private. So int num is my data member. Then there are two functions, void get val and void print. Let this function be, we'll go to the main. Student S1, I created an object of student and then I have declared int num. So this is a local variable, and then I have entered some value. Let me enter some value 10 over here. Enter some value. I entered value 10. S1 getVal.10 will come. So it will come to this particular function, object.getVal. So the pass is 10. Now here, this num is a local variable which is declared over here. I hope you got. So that is this num. Now, what is this num? In case if you have not written this num, it will consider this also as a local variable itself. To differentiate between your class data member as well as your local variable, I have to name my class member as this number, okay, this number. So I have written here this arrow num. Then I have printed the value of this. The value is num. So this is how you are going to differentiate between your data member and the variable. Data member and the variable. So this num is equal to num. This is of your local and this is of your data member. So that's why how you're going to differentiate between these two. So this is one example to differentiate. If you just write num is equal to num, this num also will be considered as a local variable itself. It will be not considered as your data member. To differentiate, to make it a data member, you should use this pointer. So this arrow operator num equal to num. So let us run this particular program in the code blocks. So same program I've written. So I'll just build and run. So enter some value. I've written 10. The output also will be the value 10 because in this num I'm storing C. I entered 10, right? So 10 will be stored in this particular, and finally I'm going to print that particular number. In case if I remove this pointer, it will give some junk value. You can see over it. It will not provide the value as 10. The value is 0. You can see over here. So this is, it will take this as local variable itself. It will not consider as your class data member. So to make it as a class data member, you should always assign with this pointer. So I hope it's clear. When you have your local variable having same name and your class or data member also having same name, to differentiate between the class data member and the local variable, you should use this. And this pointer, you're going to put it only for your data member, not to the local variable. I hope it's clear with this particular example. So this is regarding the first point of your third point explanation, what I've told over here. Rest 2 points I'll be explaining in these two particular slides, okay? So let me explain this. This is an example for our first 2 points, that is to facilitate to create and call member function of class objects. That is how this pointer is being used in function declaration, function call and function definition while we compile. So let us see over here. Initially what will happen is, after the compiler has ascertained that no attempt is being made to access the private members of an object by non-member functions, what does it do is it converts C++ code into a ordinary code. It converts a C++ code into an ordinary code. So what is happening over here is whatever the previous example we had, like of class distance itself, within that we had set feet functions, int get feet, void set inches, float get inches. Now this entire code, while we compile, this class will be converted into a structure of C with only data members in it. Okay, while you compile. Now what is the job? The private members of the class should not be accessed by any non-member function. Okay, that is the job. And what will be the point of this pointer in these concepts while we run in this particular concepts? So what it will do is, initially first step it will do is, whatever the class is there, right now class is there, that will be converted into struct. That will be converted to struct with the data members only. With the data only, these two members are been declared. So this is what is happening once you do the compiling. Okay, once you do the compiling. Okay, actually what the compiler will do is, it converts the C++ code into ordinary C code. Okay, ordinary C code. So this will be compiled in this way. So class distance int I feet float f inches will be nothing but struct distance int I feet float f inches. After that, whatever these declarations are there, right, whatever these declarations are there, those declarations will be void set feet, int get feet, void set inches, float get inches. So those declarations, these are the function declaration. Now in these all declarations, you will be, when it gets converted into a compiler, right, it will pass another parameter that is nothing but this pointer, this pointer, that what is being declared. So what is the dis pointer type? It's of class type, right? So you should define like distance pointer constant. Just you're passing the data type of your this pointer. Your data type of this pointer is nothing but distance star constant. So with int you're passing that, your nothing is there, you're just passing that. Here with set inches you're passing distance star constant comma float. With float get inches, again you're passing distance star constant. So you can see over here, it puts a declaration of this pointer as a leading formal arguments in the prototype of all member functions as follows. See, in the previous we had void set feet int, right? With that it will put a data type of this, that is distance star constant, distance star constant. For int get feet there is no parameter, so but a single parameter is being passed, int get feet distance star constant. I hope it's clear. So what is happening, initially the class will be converted to the structure of C with only the data members, and wherever you have function declarations, right, there everywhere you'll pass a parameter, function declaration, you'll pass a formal leading parameter as distance, I mean this pointer's data type, that is nothing but distance star constant comma int. So here int is the whatever the parameter was actually over here. With that you are going to pass distance star constant, even in get feet, even in set inches, even in float get inches. So here it will be distance star constant comma float get inches distance star constant. So this is how in the function declaration it is being used. So that's what he has mentioned. To facilitate to create and call member functions of class objects is provided by the C++ compiler. The compiler does this by using a unique pointer known as the this pointer. So you understood how it converts the class to structure and what is happening actually in the function declaration. To visibility, this is visible for us, but actually in the once it gets compiled, this is what is happening over here. Okay, and regarding in the function definition, now this is with the function declaration. Regarding with the function definition, now this was a function definition for the set feet, void scope resolution operator we have used. So class name, scope resolution operator, function name, whatever the parameter. So void distance set feet index. So this is the local variable, you remember. I feet is nothing but the object member, class member. You have defined I feet over here, if you see. Okay, you have defined a I feet over here. So what is happening here, I feet is equal to x. This is a class variable, this is our data member. Okay, this is a local variable, this is our data member. So what is happening, I feet is equal to x. Now in case if I want to differentiate, what should I do? I need to put at this pointer. So you had already seen in the first example when I told, it was like this arrow operator num is equal to num. So similarly, when it is in the function definition, it's always pointing to this pointer is always pointing to a data member of our class, data member to our class. So you can see here I've changed this arrow I feet equal to x. This arrow is nothing but pointer to member access operator, So you can see here it puts the definition of this pointer as a leading formal arguments in the definition of all member functions. See here again with that void distance int x is there. With this, right, you should mention what whatever the argument you passed in the declaration. So here you distance star constant, right? Same you're going to pass here, distance star constant. Here x is there. What is the distance star constant for which one it is? For this, right? So this distance star constant, this comma int x, this I feet is equal to x. So this is what is happening actually in the behind the implementation. Okay, so it puts the definition of this pointer as a leading formal arguments in the definition here as follows. It also modifies all the statement to the access objects members by accessing them through this pointer using the pointer to member access operator. That's what I told. If you want to access the data member of the class, then you're going to do the changes of this. Similar, same code over here. In test get fit return I fit. So here you will pass distance star constant, and then return I fit will be this arrow I fit. So this is an example for the what will happen when you use the function definition. Okay, next point is for the function call. So you had seen regarding function declaration what is happening, what is the role of function this pointer in the function definition. Now it is nothing but in the role of function call. So you know function call is nothing but in the main you will call d1.setFit of 1. Now how, when you call this, right, when we call this particular function, how will the function will come to know that is of object d1? How will it come to know that is of object d1? When you call a function, now in the main you will call this function d1.setFit of 1. How will the function, I mean whatever the function set will come to know that it is actually a d1, object d1 has called it. Nothing but you have to pass the address of this. So when you what actually it happens is setFit function is called, in addition to this parameter address of d1 is being passed. Visibility is only this for us in the program, but actually this is happening. setFit is called, in addition to that address of the d1 is being passed, also the parameter 1 is being passed. Even for set inches, address of d1 1.1. So what will be the output? d1.getFit, I mean d1.getFit of this. So here also you are going to pass and d1. Okay, I hope it's clear. d1.setFit of 1 means you should know from where which object has been sent. Yes or no? So to identify the object, this is the function called to identify the object. setFit and d1 comma 1 is being called. setFit and d1 comma 1 is called. Here setFit set inches and d1 comma 1.1 is called. So output what will happen? d1, here it is d1 dot get feet, right? Here it is actually it is passing get feet, but within that it is passing the address of the d1. So this is regarding this pointer explanation. So while writing in the examination point of view, you should write what is this pointer and what are these 2-3 points, and then should give a simple example. In addition to this, you have to even explain this, since it is being mentioned in the textbook, this particular example. You should also tell that what it does, converts the structure, converts the class into a structure with only the data members, and give a small example of same. And then you should write like it puts a declaration of this pointer as a leading formal arguments. You're supposed to write this leading formal arguments, how it was before and how it will be after. Then for the function definition what will happen, and for the function call what will happen. So all these 4 points you're supposed to write regarding this pointer. Next is regarding the data abstraction. Data abstraction refers to providing only essential information to the outside world and hiding the background details. So as you all know, it is just providing only the essential information, but we are hiding the implementation part. That means we are just showing the needed information to the user without presenting the actual detail. So data abstraction in a programming technique actually relies on separation of the interface and the implementation. So what you see the user interface, for example, you just see the Gmail page, so that is an user interface, but what actually the code is behind that user login, we are not worried. We are just logging, we are just putting a Gmail and we are putting a password and we are logging and seeing the Gmails. That's it, that is the job. Now as a user, I'm just entering my Gmail username and password, and I'm just logging to my Gmail and checking the mails. That's it. That is what data abstraction itself. I can just see what is happening. I mean, I can just, whatever information is required for me is being provided. Whatever background is happening, I'm not worried. So that is nothing but data abstraction. It is a programming technique that relies on the separation of interface and implementation. Okay, and it's a virtue by which an object hides its internal operation from the rest of the program. That's what he is telling. Whatever the internal operation is there, whatever the internal operations is there, it is being hidden from the rest of the program. So this is regarding the data abstraction. Let us see the example. So this is an example program what is being shown for the data abstraction concept. So over here we have the class distance with the data members int I feet and float f inches, and then you have 4 functions. All these are whichever we have seen the function, same functions itself. Void set feet int get feet, void set inches, float get inches. These are just function declarations or just their function prototypes. How can we define this function outside the class? By using the scope resolution operator. So void class name scope resolution operator set feet int of x. Okay, so within this I'm just going to set the feet. I feet is equal to x. Next, get feet, return the I feet. Already you had seen. So set feet is nothing but I'm just setting the I feet. Get feet is nothing but I'm just going to return the I feet. Now void distance set inches, float y. Whatever the float f inches value is there, that will be taken over here. Now for example, if it is taking the value, for example I have given within the main the value 10, then this will take the 10. If f inches is greater than or equal to 10, no, your 10 is not greater than or equal to, so f inches value will be 10 itself, and it will return the value 10. Okay, now in case, if in case instead of here I have given certain values, okay, here I have given certain values. So for example, let me define the objects distance d1, d2, d3, and then I call d1 dot set feet 10, d1 dot set inches 12.5. Now what will happen, we'll just see in the program. When it calls set feet, it will go to this 10, okay, and I feet is equal to 10 will be assigned. That's what when you call. Now when you call this particular function, when you call this particular set feet, okay, you know d1 dot set feet 10 means it will come to this set feet function and it will call and assign I feet is equal to 10. Now this value is 10. Then return the I feet. I feet will, int distance get, in case if you call the get, okay, I feet value will be 10. Return the I feet value is 10 now. Return the I feet value is 10. Now it will go to the set distance, set inches float y. What is the set inches value I am passed? 12.5. So it will go to here, it will pass 12.5. Now f inches will be 12.5. Whether 12.5 is greater than or equal to 12, yes, it is greater than or equal to 12. If it is so, these two operations should happen. I feet will be incremented, f inches will be decremented. So what is job now? I feet is equal to, plus means nothing but I feet plus f inches by 12, plus f inches by 12. So I feet value, you know what is I feet value? 10. F inches is 12.5 by 12. So you know this 12.5 by 12, it almost gives 1 point something. So it's almost I feet value will be rounded up to 11. 1 point something you will get. 12 ones are 12 ones are again 5 something 1 point. When you put a 0, you'll get 1 point something. So it will be nothing but this value will be 11. F inches is not minus, it is there. So what it is actually, this equation is what? F inches is equal to f inches minus int, whatever the integer explicit conversion you're going to do for the f inches by 12 into 12. So this is nothing but f inches value is 12.5 minus integer conversion. What is the integer conversion of f inches? It is 12 by 12 into 12. So this cancel. So 1 into 12 is 12. So the answer will be 12.5 minus 12. It would be 0.5. So you can see the new changed value. In case if f inches was greater than or equal to 12, then this would be the output. So what would happen here? d1 dot get feet. Get feet means now you updated I feet is what? Return I feet. What is your updated I feet? I feet is 11. What is your get inches? You got there 0.5. So that will be displaying. For example, instead here d2 dot set feet, I gave 11 itself, but here I given 10.5. Okay, just imagine I gave 10.5. So what would happen? Your I feet value would be 11 itself. You know, I set feet, it will go set feet, it will be 11 itself. Whereas even set inches, when it go to set inches, here it is 10.5. 10.5 is greater than or equal to 12? No. So it will return that f inches value itself. So again, sorry, it will return this f inches value itself, so it would be nothing but 10.5 itself. So what is the idea you got over here? Now what is happening, for example, this is an example where a library program has developed a particular program. He doesn't do any manipulation in the set feet, whereas in the set inches he does the manipulation. In case an application programmer like me, like for example, I don't know anything, now I'm just logging to the Gmail and checking the mail. So in case if I'm I'm an application programmer, if I run this particular program, there are possible that for set feet I might give any number of value, it may be any 10, and for f inches set inches I might pass the number 10 or I might pass the number 12.5. so when I pass the 10, right, when I pass this 10 when I pass this as 10 for the set inches, the output will be 10 itself. But in case if I pass the 12.5, then it would be 0.5. So what is happening, if it is greater than or something like 12, operation, a set inches function will be decremented. In case if it is lesser than the 12, then this value will be exactly the same. Okay, if it is passing greater than 12, f feet will be incremented by 1, set inches will be almost incremented by 1, set inches will be f inches will be decremented. So the library program is developed in such a way that his internal operation is being idle. Okay, when an application programmer runs, what he thinks, okay, some values I'm getting, something is happening over there, but he doesn't know actual logic what is being performed over here. That is the concept of data abstraction he is trying to explain you over here. So I'll just run this particular program in the code blocks. See over here, I'd actually given two values, okay, 10 and 12.5. Here I'll give 11 itself, but here I'll give 10.5, just by understanding. Same function. So I'll just run this particular program. So what is happening for set feet, it will be same. See here, for set feet 10 it was there, but here 12.5 means if this is 12.5, this will be getting incremented, if you remember, and this will be getting incremented, and this will be getting decremented. So you can see 11 and 0.5. In case if I paused set feet 11 and 10.5, this is, now what is the application programmer can see when he has given certain inputs. Now for example, if this he has given 10 or 12 point, if he has read, then this is what he is getting. So he might be worrying what is internally happening, he doesn't know. Got it? So this is what is data abstraction. So he is telling that he has hidden this particular code, logic is over here mainly, only the program developer will come to know that this is what I've set. But in case if someone outside is running this particular program, if it is greater than 12, something else is going to get. If it is lesser than 12, something else is going to get. So this is regarding the data abstraction. Next is regarding the explicit address manipulation. The concept is regarding explicit address manipulation. Now what a programmer can do by using explicit address manipulation is nothing but he can manipulate the member data. He can manipulate the member data of any object by using the explicit address manipulation. A programmer can manipulate the member data of any object by using explicit address manipulation. So what is same program what you had seen over there with the class distance and four functions: void set feet, int get feet, void set inches, float get inches. That is your function prototypes within the class, as well as two data members, high feet and f inches. Then using scope resolutions, I have defined the four function, that is void distance, set feet within high feet is equal to x, int distance get feet, return high feet, and again void distance, set inches, float y, and same code. If it is greater than or equal to 12, high feet will be incremented, if not f inches will be decremented. Same code and distance. Only within the main I've shown the address manipulation. So what I told regarding the explicit address manipulation is nothing but you can manipulate the member data of any object. You can manipulate the member data of any object. Now here our object is D1. Okay, we can manipulate the member data of any objects, this objects. That's what he's telling. Now here distance d1 set feet is equal to 256, d1 set inches is equal to 2.2. Now what will happen now, for example, if I give the C out of here, if I give d1 dot get feet, and again I'll give d1 dot get inches, just for your, just to understand the output. Okay, now when it tells set feet, it will go to this particular function set feet, and 256 will be passed. I feet is equal to x, that means what, I feet is equal to 256, and return the I feet, 256 will be written. Again when set inches, the value is 2.2, so it will not go to this particular code itself because it is less, so it will not execute. 2.2 will be the output and it will return the 2.2. so here the output will be 256 and here it will be 2.2. Now here I want to perform the explicit address manipulation. Now what is your d1? D1 is of your integer type, your object distance d1 in that set feet. Now for example, if I tell d1, okay, d1 is of what actually? It is set feet. I'm calling an object of data distance, but here this d1 should be explicitly manipulated. So what I'm doing is, it is of integer type, so integer will occupy actually 2 bytes. Agree? d1 dot set feet, if let me take this particular example for set feet. So set feet is a function with the return type of void. Okay, so with the return type of void, but within that I feet is your data member, which is of type what? Int. So set feet means it will use the it will use the I feet. I feet is of the type what? Integer type. So it is of integer type. So what is happening over here is, integer will actually occupy 2 bytes. So for example, let me say now you have set feet as 256, means it is actually having 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. So here 4 totally 2 bytes. That is this 1 byte, this section is 1 byte, and this section is 1 byte. So you know that this is 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, 2 to the power 5, 2 to the power 6, and 2 to the power 7, and this is 2 to the power 8. You know the value of 2 to the power 8 is 256. Agree? You know the value of 2 to the power, the value of 2 to the power 8 is nothing but 256. Now what is happening over there? Now here, now the int feet would be, whatever the int feet would be 2 bytes. Since the value is 256, it is 2 to the power 8, and this is how you're showing in the what bit representation, 2 bytes representation, where zeros would occupy the lower address in Little Indian. So here this will be nothing but the LSB, least significant bit, and here it is the most significant bit, MSB. Okay, this is the least. So zeros means what? Nothing but in the lower, which actually occupies the lower address in the Little Indian. Now this whatever d dot set feet 256 is there, let me take this particular int I feet itself. Now what I did is, I created a pointer char star p, okay, and this integer, now d1 is there, right? That integer I'm going to convert into type of character star. Now you know character occupies only 1 byte. Actually, so it will have the location as 0, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6, only 1 byte. Actually 1 byte is being allocated. So what is he telling in the sense here? He's just creating a reference variable. Now your p is there, right? It is actually your char star p is nothing but a pointer which you're creating, but this p is a reference variable for an object, d1. Now this d1 is of integer type. Agree? So that should be typecasted to character star. This data type itself you have to convert. So what you're going to do again, char star, and address of that I'm going to change. Okay, and d1. So what is happening over here? I put now char star. Now whatever your d1 is stored in this particular it is typecasted, and it is typecasted to a character type, and it is being stored in this pointer char star p. Now star p is made equal to 1. If it is equal to 1 means what is the meaning actually? 1 byte, but 1, that means what? Last value, that is 2 to the power 0 is what? 1. That means your character byte allocation is 000001. Now this should be replaced with this. Why? Because you're converted now. Here you can see, thus by using explicit address manipulation, the value of class member can be changed. The value of class member can be changed. So here I change the class member's value. Actually, the D1 your object D1 is typecasted to a pointer of character type, and it is stored in this char star p. Now this char star p is assigned with the value 1. When it is assigned with the value 1, the character occupies only 1 byte. So last one is, when it is, what will be the value? When will be the value 1? When it is 2 to the power 0. So this will be nothing but when this value is 1. So here it will change to 001. So what will happen? 2 to the power 0 plus 2 to the power 8. 2 to the power 0 plus 2 to the power 8. It is nothing but 2 to the power 0 is 1 plus 2 to the power 8 is 256. So in total it will be 257. Now your d dot get fit value will be 257, and your get inches value will be 2.2 itself. 2.2 itself. So this is regarding how you can do the explicit address manipulation. First, what I did is I created a reference variable of pointer type, and whatever the object is there, I typecasted it into a character pointer type, and then you know that character occupies only 1 byte, integer occupies 2 bytes. So integer 256 value is nothing but 2 to the power 8. Now this again, what is happening? I assign p is equal to 1 means 1 byte. Character is 1 byte, right? So this entire thing, whatever 0 was there, when it will be p equal to 1, when 2 to the power 0. So this last value will be interchanged to 1. So the value will become to 257. So this is regarding the explicit address manipulation. So I'll just run this program over here. And same address manipulation, same for code, but I'll just copy this code before, so that you'll get to know the value over here. What is the initial value? So initially the value will be same. Okay, so you can see over here, you just check. Initially it was just I printed, so 256 will be printed and 2.2 will be printed. Next what I did is I took char star, I took char star pointer, and whatever your object type is there, I did the explicit address manipulation. That is integer, I typecasted into character type, and that is stored in the char star p, and then I made star p equal to 1. When it is, in case since it is 1, it is getting 257. In case if I would have made the value as 2, sorry, if I made the value as 2, what would be the output? It would be, if I made the value as 2, then you know that instead of last position 0, it would be previous position 2. So it will be 257 plus 257 plus 2. 257 plus 2. So that would be 256 plus 2. 256 plus 2. So that would give me 258. I hope you got it. Is just got shifted. Now for example, instead of this you did 4. Instead of this you did 4. So it would be what, you know, in the first iteration, last one was 1 byte, right? Last one was 1. Later what I did is I'll just put in the comment line. Now it is actually 100. That last 3 bytes of that character is 100. It is 2 to the power, this is not there, this is not there, this is 2 to the power 0, this is 2 to the power 1, this is 2 to the power 2. Now what is happening? 256 plus 4 should be added. 256 plus 4 should be added. Okay, so that is regarding the explicit address manipulation. So you can change the value, and So what is happening? Thus by using explicit address manipulation, the value of class member can be changed. See here, 256 plus 4, 260 is given as the output. So this is how we are going to do the explicit address manipulation, by setting this particular value. Okay, by setting this particular value. Now actually this is nothing but a reference variable you are going to create. reference variable. P is nothing but a reference variable which is being created, and this is nothing but you're going to do the typecasting of the object, to the character type, and then you're telling that pointer you're setting a new value, but you're going to manipulate into a new value. So what is happening? P is of character type, so only the last 8 bits that will be changed, because character occupies only 1 byte, so integer occupies 2 bytes. So the most significant bit will not change, the least significant, that entire set will change by whatever the value you are going to pass. So this is regarding the explicit address manipulation. Same code, these all things I have already explained, same logic over there. Okay. The next concept is based on the arrow operator. So the arrow operator is similar to the dot operator what you have seen. So here the member functions can be called with respect to an object. Member functions can be called with respect to an object through a pointer pointing at the object using arrow operator. So for example, you can see over here you can see this particular code, okay, this particular code. So what is happening over here, a member function, okay, a member function can be called, this is a set feet. So this is a member function of your class distance. It can be called with respect to an object. It can be called with respect to an object through a pointer pointing at the object. Through a pointer pointing at the object. Through a pointer pointing at the object. So you can see over here, distance d1 is an object. Again, I created a pointer that is dptr, distance dptr. Now within this dptr, I am storing the address of the object. So dptr is nothing but which actually stores the address of an object. So you can call the member functions using the pointer. It can be called with respect to the pointer, that is nothing but an object through a pointer pointing at the object. So this is the syntax. Instead of if you had seen in the for example instead of dptr pointer setFeet1, we used to have d1 dot setFeet. So just extra thing is declaration of this pointer and then assigning the address of the object to this particular pointer. This is object d1, address of that particular to the pointer, and then dptr, this it acts same like calling the function setFeet1. It is nothing but it is doing the job same as calling the function setFeet1, this function itself, setFeet1. Okay, so here the first statement is clear. The dot operator is applied to the actual object. We had seen the dot operator is actually applied to the actual object. Now if you had seen we had like d1 dot setFeet1, if you had remember. So this is what actually we were doing within the dot operator, but actually when we compile, what is the role happening? setFeet, within that the address of this, and this is the function call within the main, but actually while compiling it is not setFeet address of d1 comma 1 is being passed over here. Okay, that is nothing but address of the object. In addition to that, also the whatever the parameter. So the dot operator is applied to the actual object. See here d1. It is actually pointing actual object. The array operator is used with the pointer to an object. That is the difference. See, the dot operator is applied to the actual object, d1 object itself, whereas the arrow operator is used with the pointer to an object. If you see over here, it is pointer to an object. This acts as a pointer to an object. It acts as a pointer to an object. That's it. The difference is only so much. So this is regarding the arrow operator. The definition of arrow operators has been extended in C++. It takes not only a data members on its right as in C, but also member functions as its right hand side operand. Okay, it not only takes as an data members, but also in addition to that, it also takes a member functions on its right hand side. So this is an example, same example what we had seen in the previous class distance with two data members int I feet and float f inches, with again the four functions void setFeet int get feet, void set inches, float get inches, and these are only prototypes. And then we have function definitions using the scope resolution operator. So we have done this void distance int distance get feet, void distance set inches, and then again the float distance get inches. Only thing is is the logic is changed is in the int main. So here distance d1 object is being created over here. Now we need to create a pointer that is actually pointing to the object. So it is distance star dptr, distance star dptr. Then dptr is equal to address of that particular object, So here you can see dptr is equal to address of that particular object. Then if you want to call the functions like set feet and set inches, it is actually to this dptr and the arrow operator, So this is how we are going to, instead of d1.setFeet, d1.setInches, we have dptr arrow operator. So we are calling member functions through the pointers. So this is regarding the arrow operator. Okay, this is regarding the arrow operators. So same over here, while printing also we had d1.getFeet and we had d1.getInches, but instead of that you have this. You have ptr. So this is the difference between the arrow operator and the dot operators. So that's what he has told. See, the dot operator is applied to actual object. The arrow operator is used within the pointer to an object. So this is a pointer to an object. So dptr is nothing but it is a pointer which we have created for an object. So through this pointer I'm going to call all the member functions, or it may be a data member also. So anywhere if you want to call, you're using dptr arrow operator instead d1 dot. That is the difference. d1 dot we used to call directly object dot whatever the member function. Here we are calling pointer, arrow operator, and then the member functions. But that pointer is actually pointing to the nothing but the object itself. So that is the explanation of this second point. The arrow operator is used with the pointer to an object. So the definition of arrow operators has been extended in C++. It takes not only data members on its right, but also member functions as it's in the right side operand. So let us run this particular program in the code blocks. It is nothing but arrow operator. Yes, arrow.cpp. So same program, the output will be same what you had seen in that set feet 1 and set inches 1 point. This will be the output itself, but only thing is we have used the arrow operator. So let me run this particular program. So you can see 1 and 1.1 as the solution. So just I'll tell regarding the main distance d1. I created a pointer is being created. After that the d pointer is actually holding the address of the object. So that means what, it is actually pointing to this particular object. Through this pointer we are going to calling the member functions. So calling member functions through the pointers. So set feet 1, set inches 1, the output will be what, it will go to set feet function and set the feet 1, set inches also it will set 1.1. Why? Because only if it is greater than 12 then we are going to do the manipulations. Then finally I'm just printing the dptr get feet, dptr get inches. So 1 and 1.1 will be the results for the arrow operator. So this is regarding the arrow operator. The last topic is based on the calling one member functions from another. So you can see over here, one member functions can be called from another in this. So just see this. iostream.h using namespace std class a int x. I have one data member int x. Within that I have two functions, void set x int x, void set x indirect int, void set x int, void set x indirect int. So what is happening over here? These are the two function declarations or prototypes. Again this is the class. So class with the data member int x, two functions void set x and set index set x indirect. So within this I'm calling this particular function. That is what is telling, calling one member functions from another. So within this void A, you know the data type, I've used the scope resolution operator. So class name is A, then scope resolution operator, function name, whatever the parameter. X is equal to P. X is equal to P. So now for example, I'll go to the main, int main, class A, I created an object A1. This is the class name, this is the object A1. Now object A1 dot set x 10 means it will come to this particular function. So 10 will be passed. So x is equal to 10. Function 1 set x value. Function 1 set x value. That means I've just told this, I've just displayed a statement. Function 1 set x value is 10. Set x value is 10. Okay. Now what will happen? Again, it will go to this. This function is being executed. Now A1 object 1 set x indirect 20 I have sent. So it will go to this value as 20. Within this set x is called. Set x is called. So it will go and call this particular function. Set x of q means set x of q is called. So the parameter of q is sent. Now what is that? 20. X is equal to 20. X is equal to 20. The function 1 set x value is again reset to the value 20. So first this function 1 set x value will be printed. Function 1 set x value 10 will be printed. Before 1 I am telling, before 1. Now when it is 20, it will call set x of q. Function set x of q. So this will be printed. Function 1 set x value, function 1 set of value 20 will be printed. Function 2 set x value, if you want to know, just to know what is the value, I mean this function ka value, it is 20. So this will be printing. So these three things will be getting printed. So what is the main agenda? Calling one member functions from another. So if you see in the second function, I have called the first function. This is the only one thing what you have to learn. So only one thing, nothing but one member function can be called from the another function. So this is the set x indirect function. Within this I called set x function, and then I've just included these two things so that these two printf statements, see out, so that you will get to know the differentiation. And within this int main, a object A1 is being created, and A1 dot set x will be called, A1 dot set x indirect will be called. When A1 dot set x called, 10 is being assigned and this will be printed. A1 dot set x indirect 20 is being passed, set x of q is called. So this is called, so 20 will be there. So same function 1 set x value will be set to 20. Then again, if you want to know what is the value of function, this value q, I just printed over here, function 2. So that is what, nothing, the only difference is you're calling first function in the second. Again, you're going to give the function call in the function. That is what calling one member functions from another function. So this is regarding calling one member functions from another function. Thank you. So I'll just run in the code blocks once again of this also, nested also, nested. So this is the same logic what is there, what I've shown over there. So I'll just run and we'll check the output. What is the output over here? Build and run. So you can see what I've explained over there same. Initially I've sent 10. So again function 1 set x value is 10. Then again I called set x indirect. Within this function you had called set x q. So it will go to this particular function and function 1 set x value 20. Then I printed the function 2 set x indirect value. So this is the output for the function. So this is an example for calling one member function from another. Thank you.